Hey everyone, welcome back to SmartSat FX. I'm so glad you're here because today, I'm about to get real with you. No sugarcoating, no hype, just the honest truth about what it's really like to trade Forex. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, whatever gets you comfy, because this is going to be a long one. I want to share 20 lessons that I've learned through years of trial, error, frustration, and even some small victories along the way. I wish someone had sat me down when I was starting out and told me these things. Maybe I could have avoided a lot of the pain and the dumb mistakes. But hey, it's all part of the journey, right? Before we jump in, if you find this helpful, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment telling me your biggest trading lessons so far, and share this with someone who's just starting out. Because honestly, these are the stories and insights that can save people from blowing up their accounts. All right, let's get into it. Lesson 1, you won't get rich overnight. I still remember the very first time I stumbled onto a trading forum. People were posting screenshots of profits, thousands of dollars in a day. And you know what my brain did? It went, wow, that's going to be me. I thought I'd start with a few $100 and in a couple of weeks, I'd be driving something fancy and telling my boss to shove it. I mean, who wouldn't want that? But let me tell you, this idea that Forex is some instant path to wealth is probably the most dangerous belief a beginner can have. Because here's what really happens. You jump in with that mindset, you risk way too much, and you're emotionally attached to every pip. It took me blowing my first account gone in, I kid you not, 2 days to realize that trading is a long game. Wealth doesn't show up overnight. It builds slowly with discipline, proper risk management, and patience. And trust me, if you go in thinking you'll double your money every week, you're setting yourself up for a very expensive lesson. Lesson 2, demo accounts lie. Sort of. Oh man, I have to laugh thinking about my early demo trading. I was unstoppable. Every trade went my way. I'd enter, price would bounce perfectly, and I'd be grinning ear to ear like some trading prodigy. And then I switched to real money. Let's just say it was humbling. Here's the thing, demo accounts are great for learning how to use the platform and test strategies, but they don't teach you what happens when you have real money on the line. You don't get that gut punch feeling when a trade goes against you. You don't feel the panic when you see red numbers eating into your actual savings. That emotional pressure is what makes trading hard. So if you're sitting there feeling like a genius on demo, just know it's a useful tool, but it won't fully prepare you for the real thing. Lesson 3, emotions will mess you up. Let's talk about the monster under the bed, emotions. I'll never forget the day I revenge traded. I'd taken a loss, about 20% of my account, in one shot because I didn't set a stop loss. And instead of walking away to clear my head, I thought, no, I'm going to get it back right now. Bad idea. Really bad idea. I over-leveraged, jumped into trades without analysis, and by the end of the day, I was nearly wiped out. Trading psychology is everything. You have to learn to detach your ego from the outcome. If you can't do that, you'll be stuck in a cycle of panic and frustration. It took me a long time to recognize when I was trading emotionally, and even longer to train myself to stop. Lesson 4, risk management isn't optional. This lesson smacked me in the face more times than I care to admit. When you first start, you think, if I just find the perfect strategy, I won't need to worry about risk management. But the reality is, even the best setups can fail. I remember one trade, I was so sure it was going to win. I went in with almost my entire account. And when it tanked, I just sat there, frozen, watching my balance evaporate. It was brutal. But it taught me the importance of only risking what I could afford to lose. Nowadays, I never risk more than 1 to 2% per trade. It's not exciting, but you know what? It's the reason I'm still trading. Lesson 5, consistency beats perfection. In the early days, I was obsessed with finding the holy grail strategy. I'd hop from one indicator to the next, from scalping to swing trading, thinking the perfect method was out there if I just looked hard enough. Spoiler, there isn't one. What finally made a difference was sticking with one approach long enough to learn its strengths and weaknesses. Even if a strategy isn't perfect, if you execute it consistently, you can become profitable. It's not about perfection. It's about discipline and routine. Lesson 6. News can ruin your trade. Fast. Have you ever been in a perfectly good trade, and then suddenly a huge candle comes out of nowhere and hits your stop loss? I still remember the first time it happened to me. I didn't even know there was major news scheduled. Some central bank announcement dropped, and boom, my position was gone in seconds. After that, I learned to always check the economic calendar. Even if you're a technical trader, you can't ignore fundamentals. Trust me, protect yourself from surprise volatility. Lesson 7. Overtrading will empty your wallet. It's so tempting to always be in a trade. Early on, I thought, if I wasn't trading, I was missing out. So I'd force setups, convince myself I saw a pattern that wasn't there, and take trade after trade. And guess what? Most of them lost. Overtrading is one of the fastest ways to burn out and blow up your account. Sometimes the best trade is no trade. Lesson 8. Simplicity wins. There was a time I had so many indicators on my chart, it looked like a Christmas tree. Moving averages, RSI, MACD, Bollinger Bands, everything layered on top of each other. It was overwhelming, and I was paralyzed by conflicting signals. Eventually, I stripped my charts down to price action and a couple of tools. And suddenly, things started to click. Keep it simple. Complexity doesn't make you smarter, it just makes you confused. Lesson 9. Trade what you understand. One of the biggest mistakes I made was chasing every shiny object. If someone on YouTube said they were killing it with some obscure currency pair, I'd jump on it without understanding why it moved the way it did. When you don't understand what you're trading, you can't develop an edge. Stick to the pairs you know. Learn their behavior. You'll be more confident and less likely to panic. Lesson 10. Patience is your best friend. I used to think patience meant waiting a few minutes. But in trading, patience means sometimes waiting days, even weeks, for the right setup. When you learn to wait for high probability trades, your results will improve. It feels boring, but that boredom is exactly what keeps you safe. Hey, if you're still here, you're awesome. We're only halfway through and there's so much more I want to share. Make sure you hit that like button if you're enjoying this and subscribe if you haven't yet. All right, let's keep going. Lesson 11. Losses are inevitable. Accept them. You know, I spent a lot of time fighting reality. I thought if I just learned enough or worked hard enough, I'd find a way to avoid losses completely. It doesn't work like that. Even the world's best traders lose trades. Sometimes a lot of them. What separates professionals from amateurs is how they react to those losses. When I finally accepted that losses are part of the game, it felt like a weight off my shoulders. Instead of beating myself up every time, I started asking, was this loss within my rules? Did I follow my plan? If the answer was yes, I could move on. If no, well, that was feedback to improve. The sooner you stop treating losses as personal failures, the sooner you'll grow. Lesson 12. Over-leveraging will bite you. Leverage feels like a superpower when you're starting out. Lesson 13. The market doesn't care about you. This one sounds harsh, but it's true. I used to think the market was conspiring against me. Like, the moment I placed a trade, price would spike the opposite way just to mess with me. Of course, the market isn't personal. It's just supply and demand, liquidity, news, and randomness. The day I stopped taking it personally was the day I started trading more calmly. I could see setups more objectively, without feeling like a victim. Remember, the market doesn't know you exist, and that's actually a good thing. It means you can just focus on probabilities. Lesson 14. Journaling changes everything. I used to roll my eyes at the idea of keeping a trading journal. It sounded tedious. But eventually, I realized I was making the same mistakes over and over, and I couldn't figure out why. When I finally started writing down every trade, entry, exit, reason, emotion, I began to spot patterns I would never have seen otherwise. Like, I'd see I always lost money on Fridays because I was tired and impatient, or that I got sloppy after a winning streak. Journaling turned trading from random chaos into a process I could actually improve. If you don't already, start documenting your trades. Future you will thank you. Lesson 15. Learn to walk away. One of the hardest skills I had to develop was knowing when to stop trading. When you're in the middle of losses, it feels like you have to keep going to get back to break even. But that's usually when you're most likely to do something reckless. I remember one afternoon, 3 losing trades in a row. I was furious. Instead of stepping away, I kept clicking buy and sell like a maniac, hoping something would stick. By the end of the day, I'd lost way more than I'd planned. Now I have a rule. If I hit my max daily loss, I shut everything down and walk away. No exceptions. It's not easy, but sometimes your brain just isn't in the right place to trade. Lesson 16. Master one strategy first. I used to hop around constantly, trying to learn every strategy under the sun. Scalping, swing trading, hedging. It was exhausting. What finally helped me make progress was choosing one approach and sticking with it until I understood it inside and out. Once you master one style, like price action or trend following, you can always add more tools later. But if you try to juggle everything at once, you'll end up knowing a little about a lot and not enough to be consistent. Lesson 17. Trading is 80% mindset. I thought trading was about charts and indicators. But the longer I did it, the more I realized it was about mindset. You could give 2 traders the exact same system. One will make money with it, the other will blow up. The difference? Emotional control. Are you patient enough to wait for your setup? Can you take a loss without revenge trading? Do you trust your edge over the long run? These questions matter more than any indicator. If you don't believe me, just think about how many times you've known exactly what to do, but didn't do it. Lesson 18. Stop comparing yourself to others. Social media can be brutal. You see screenshots of other traders making $10,000 in a day, and it makes you feel like you're failing. But here's what I learned. Most people only show the wins, never the losses. And you don't know how much risk they took to get those gains. Your journey is your own. If you keep comparing yourself to someone else's highlight reel, you'll always feel behind. Focus on improving your own process, not living up to an illusion. Lesson 19. Treat trading like a business. In the beginning, I treated trading like a hobby. I'd show up whenever I felt like it, make decisions on impulse, and hope for the best. But eventually, I realized, if you want consistent results, you have to treat it like a business. That means having a plan, tracking performance, managing risk, showing up prepared. When I shifted my mindset, everything got more professional, and my results improved. Lesson 20. Never stop learning. If there's one lesson that ties all the others together, it's this. You have to keep learning. Markets evolve, strategies stop working, and there's always more to understand about yourself, even after. If you're still here after all that, hats off to you. Seriously. That kind of focus and curiosity, that's the stuff real traders are made of. These lessons weren't just stuff I read in a book. They were lived. Sometimes painfully, but they shaped me, and I hope they can save you from some of the bruises I took early on. If even one of these stories hit home or gave you that, I'm not alone feeling, go ahead and leave a comment. I really want SmartStatFX to be a space where we talk real trader talk, no fluff. Let me know what lessons you've learned, or if you're struggling through one of these right now. And hey, if you're new here, welcome to SmartStatFX. This channel is all about getting smarter with every pip, every trade, and every lesson. We mix strategy with psychology, risk with reward, and stats with soul. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and share this with a fellow trader who could use a bit of honest conversation today. Until next time, trade smart, stay patient, and remember, the market is wild, but with the right mindset, you don't have to be. Catch you in the next one.